Hello and welcome to the Knock On KCLR and Scoreline.ie's weekly rugby podcast involving Carlow, Kilkenny and Tullow. And we have Tom Crotty to my left from Carlow Rugby Football Club or Carlow Football Club or whatever it is called these days, Tom. Paddy Brown from Tullow, and we don't have James Blanchfield tonight. James is tied up, but we will cover a bit of Kilkenny as well. Lads, how's it going?
All good, Stephen. Good now.
Lovely weather we're having. We're recording this on a Friday
All
afternoon.
good, yeah.
It's proper winter out there now. Lads, I suppose we'll start, Tom, with you and the big derby, the Division 1B derby last week is took the trip down to Folkestown and just came away happy out with that one, and well deserved as well.
Yeah. Look at it. It was it is everything that a derby had in it, you know. We were expecting Kilkenny to really start the game and come at us hard because of they had two previous losses or lost beforehand, so they were trying to get back on winning ways, and we were trying to just keep ticking along. It was a very physical game. Game started off. We got a quick try. Got into their 22. Worked hard, and ball came out, and Ben Crotty scored on the wing. Missed our conversion, so 5-0. Kilkenny came back at us. So we were playing decent enough rugby. Then ball went to, we were in possession of the ball, just kind of inside our half, and ball was over on the touch on the Kilkenny clubhouse touchline, and the pass was given, and it was a fumble and kind of a knock on, and the Kilkenny winger just landed. He couldn't ask for better. Just landed in his hands and completely caught us off foot, and he went from just between around the 10-meter all the way straight in for the try, and they got their conversion. So it was a repeat of I was looking at it was a repeat of Dundalk at that stage. You know, they were after getting the try straight after us, and but we had we had an awful lot of possession, and we were playing really, really well. But it just, to certain aspects of our game, definitely needed to be a little bit more cuteness, especially in the line out. Wes Carter, Kilkenny 7, as everyone knows, Wes plays Leinster Juniors and has been around for a long, long time. But Wes is cute as be damned when it comes to line out play, and kept a lot of movement to his movement to make us go for into kind of false insecurity, maybe going for a ball at the back of the line out when we shouldn't have gone for the ball at the back of the line out. But no, look, we Kilkenny then got a penalty, then we got a penalty, and it was 10-8, and then we got another penalty, it was 11-10. Then Kilkenny got a try, a maul try. We just got caught in the hop again from the line out. It was 11-17. Look, with our pack play, we played well around the field. We probably weren't, our attack play probably wasn't as accurate as we wanted it to be. But we powered on in the second half, and Scott Neal got a try under the post, and we got the conversion, and that left us 18-17. We were a point ahead. Then we set up again just outside 22 in front of the post, and Richie White got a superb drop goal, which was kind of, in the time it kind of suited us. It got to be, it meant they had to go up and score a try, so that left us 21-17. But Kilkenny walked up along, and we had a combination of errors. We had a misruling on our winger. Was Richie took a kick inside the 22. It was but our winger came from behind behind the try line, which he thought wasn't an offside position, but it is by the rule of the ref on the day. He said it was an offside position, so they ended up getting a penalty, kicked the corner. They got a try, missed the conversion, so we were down to a 1-point game. They were winning. There was a minute and a half left on the clock. Minute and a half left on the clock when after they took their conversion. So we kicked the ball back in as tight to try and compete, but we didn't retain their possession. But they did a couple of rucks, one after the other. They were kind of going. Being honest, I heard that they were screaming, into the pocket to kick for touch, and it was Daniel and I can't remember one of the forwards just decided they had no choice, but they just absolutely clattered the ruck and sent Kilkenny backwards, and the ball was just left in the open, and Wes Carter just made a silly mistake, turned around from an offside position, picked up the ball and passed it to one of his own players, and we got a penalty. And it was a very difficult kick, but in fairness, it was Ben Crotty got up and planted it straight through the middle of the post. The final whistle blew. We won by 2 points. So you couldn't get any more of a derby.
Dramatic.
And Paddy, that was probably what Tullow would have done to us in so many times. So it wasn't paying you back, but we got something back.
We took no pleasure in it whatsoever, Tom.
It just happened.
We took no pleasure in it whatsoever.
I'm sure you did. But you know what that feeling is when you in fairness to Benley, he didn't have a great game off the tee in Dundalk, and it was good to see him back in form. But look, it was one of those days. We were definitely Kilkenny got a couple of injuries. Like, it was really a 50-50 game. Kilkenny got a couple of injuries, but probably it didn't help their cause at all. They lost their number 8, and they lost a couple of front row players, and we ended up with uncontested scrums, and kind of got a bit messy in that way. But look, we played good rugby. We probably weren't, the lads know themselves, probably weren't as accurate as we should have been. But what we have noticed this year, there is a bit of grit and a bit of fight there. That, like, a lot of times, that try would have been scored in the corner and the heads would have been down, and there's no way we would have ever come back. But there was a fight there right to the end to get the score. There was a couple of really, really good performances. Scott Neal came off the bench in the second half. Had an unbelievable game when he came on. Paddy Rogers, young prop, our 2 front rows were both under 21. Our tight and our loose starting props were both under 21 years of age, which is massive for a 1B junior game. So hats off to Paddy. Like, he played extremely well.
Who were they, Tom? One was Tyrone, and who was the other prop?
Paddy Rogers.
Oh, right, okay.
Paddy would have played a little bit of would have played South East, and he might have gone to the trials of kind of Leinster youth, but Paddy's aggressive. He's just dogged, just one of those young lads. A very straight shooter, takes no messing. Like, always, if there's something wrong, he'll tell you straight to your face, and just never has no fear. But he put in a couple of big hits. Ben had a superb game off the tee. I have to note him. I mean, I have to say, like, that I know he's related to me in a way, but hats off to him. That kick, everyone had their backs turned. They were afraid to look to see what would happen, and it was done. So look, I have to give him the praise where praise is due. There's defensively, the 2 centres were really, really good. Ian Atkinson and Dave McDermott, both of those were superb in defence, and then at 10, Noah Cope, again, I have to mention him. He's getting better every week. He's only a young scrum half. He's only 18 years of age, so there's a lot of lads there learning, and we're very happy with that. A win is a win. We probably need to score more tries, but look, the lads, we know that ourselves, but we're in a good place. Like, we're 4th in the league. We still have to play Kildare. We still, the top 2. We still play Kildare. We still have to play Boyne. I know we've played them away, and we've played a tie at home. So 2 home games out of the top 3. We've 2 of those at home and 1 away. So look, we're thereabouts. We're happy enough the way the season's going. Probably left points behind. Sure. Look, as I said, other times I don't know whether we would have got that win or not. Our game management was much better. It's getting better every week. As we've a massive game coming up against table toppers Kildare. They're a fantastic side. They're just all the commentary coming back from them is that they're totally different kettle of fish this season. They've always had a good pack, but they seem to have a back line to kind of match it this year. So Kildare seem to be the one to beat. And then we have that next weekend. Our seconds got a bit of a dicking. Probably we were missing a couple of the older players on the team, and and I'd say there was a bit of complacency coming down because we were unbeaten, had a massive win last weekend, like a points wise up in Dundalk, and we didn't really have any. We had no real leader of someone to control the game. Just not, and not talking about the quality of the young players that were on the pitch, but just we just missed that leadership. Somebody to control the game, from an out half, whatever. Just to know when to kick, when to settle down. We were just kind of all over the place. And look, fair dues to Kilkenny, they have a very good, strong second sides there. And they handled us. As I say, they gave us a bit of a dicking, which wasn't a good thing. But look, the lads will have to lick their wounds and get back on the saddle. There's only 1 point between themselves and a tie, so it's all to play for. It's not the end of the world, but we'd like to hopefully now get back on the saddle. They're to play Kildare next weekend, so if they can get a win there, they're back again, and then it'll be down to. They'll play a tie the following week. So, the couple of lads I have to mention, Dara Brennan played extremely well, and another young lad. He's only 21 years of age, and he's been kind of tipping around with the youths and stuff. And Dara had probably one of the better players on the pitch, and it was good to see our tight head Benny back. We thought he was retired. He would have played an awful lot with it. Would have been our starting tight head for years on the first. Did his knee, and we thought he was finished, but he's going to try and give a little bit more time. And it's great to see him back in the fray. But they've, as I said, like very very young side, but they've all to play for coming forwards. The youths kind of had a mixed bag. The 15s had a good win up in Tullow. It's good to see them back because they were at the end. I have to give their whole management and coaching squad a bit of a thumbs up because the end of last season they were short players and they were honestly thinking that they might be at the field this year. They might have to join the 16s, and I don't know what's happened to them, but they really got their act together and they pulled in players and they're starting to get a couple of results under their belt. So I'm delighted for them. The 16s went to Kilkenny. I know they were missing a couple of players, but I was talking to Derek Cope, and Derek said, look, Kilkenny were just a totally better side on the day, and they gave them a good. They watched the 18s at home. 18s beat Mullingar again in the last few minutes of the game. Did really, really well. They were missing a couple, and I have to say Mullingar had a couple of two Irish under 18s on the team. One of them at out half, and they still managed to get the win out. So, and they're a very young side. An awful lot of them are last year's 16s. There's only one or two of last year's 18s on it. So, I have to give them a mention, but because they're improving week in, week out, and they're very, very good numbers at training. And the rest of them, then let's do any reports I got in from them. So I think the rest of the youths are still doing all right. The girls, I don't have a result for the 14. The 16s had their first loss against Tullow. They were unbeaten all season so far. The under 16 Rhinos, but look, that's probably going to be it's probably a blessing in disguise. It's probably grounded them a bit. I wouldn't be too worried about them. I know they'll come back this week, and God help whoever they're playing Arco at the weekend. So I know they'll be hungry to get a win there. So look, sometimes in a league you need to be brought back to earth and get grounded and go again. I think they probably went up a little bit complacent, and that won't happen again. I know Ciara Kinch definitely won't allow that to happen with them again. I think they had I was with them last night. They had a good train session last night. I think they had a tough train session Tuesday. Our the under 18 Rhinos again. We had a league match against Panthers, which is Terranure, Suttonians, and Belvedere.
It's a
It was only unbelievable. This is what we were saying about last week, and there's two AIL women's teams there, and they have to combine to produce. And I think they only came out 12. But I have to say, they were brilliant. They came down. The under 18s won well. They played really, really well. They started well from the start. A couple of guys really played outstanding. Colleen Dwyer and Georgia Kelly and Faye Elliott and Hannah. Those Chloe. There's a few had really, really good games. The under 18 runners have an awful lot of talent. It's just unfortunate they're kind of caught with leaving certs, and there's a lot of girls doing their leaving cert, and some are they're helping out the ladies on the bench on the Sundays, and they have to train with them on a Wednesday. So we're a little bit all over the shop, and our league isn't great because, again, these combination of teams that the Dublin side's just not feeling. I think we've only had 2 league games this year so far. We've had 3 cry-offs, a cry-off again this weekend, but hopefully after Christmas this is going to change and we'll get promoted up to a different division. And that is all from Carlow.
Lovely. Good stuff, Tom. Plenty of news there. Congratulations on the win as well. Paddy, how did you get on last weekend? Gorey.
Yeah, we were down away to Gorey, first and seconds, and we had a good win against Gorey first, 32-19, and the seconds were narrowly beaten, 21-19. But the first match was one that we probably needed to win after 2 narrow defeats the previous 2 weeks to Sea Point and to Ashbourne. Both games probably we should have got something out of it, but we didn't, and so we needed to go to the bottom of the table, Gorey, and to do something. And while Gorey haven't had a win and they're down as low as 2 points, 3 points they're on, but they still, they were starting to improve in their previous results. They ran Wicklow to a couple of points the previous week. We were obviously going to take home the points if we could, but we were missing a few of the 4 backs. We were missing Aka, Jack Hanlon, Ryan O'Neill, and Jack Johnson. So we're missing 4 probably starting backs. We were lucky that we had Sean O'Brien was available, even though he was committed to Leinster on Sunday over in Dragons, but he actually didn't go to the team. He flew out himself at 9 o'clock that night and played the full match. We were lucky to get a guy from the college as well, Diego Sanchez, an Argentinian, that he stepped in for his first match. And Johnny's younger brother David had to step in at scrum half. Johnny Tobin's younger brother David Tobin, so he's been playing a couple of matches now, and we were missing a few, and he did very, very well. So as I said, we were lucky to have those there. But look, we started very well. Sean was playing first centre, and Gareth Fitzgerald was out half, and they just ran everything. And Sean didn't take on one ball; every ball went through him. He passed. His passing was absolutely superb, and as a result, the guys played wonderful rugby in the first half. And we got 3 backs tries, and looked to be cruising. But for whatever reason, and I have to say the forwards were dominating at that stage, and the likes of Stevie Smith and Jack MacDonald. Stevie nearly played the full match, and that doesn't happen too often. And Jack MacDonald got called, but there was a lot of power there. Fionn Hickey, Colm Gorey, there were the all guys came up to the plate. So anyway, whatever happened in the second half, Gorey were very fit, and they weren't throwing the towel, and they were quite determined, and they had a brilliant out half. He was a superb kicker, and they came right back into the game. I think we made a few mistakes. We made our substitutions probably came on a bit early and seemed to disrupt the flow. But whatever happened anyway, we went from a position of being 25-7 to 25-19. They got 2 converted tries in that first half of the second half. So all of a sudden we were looking at damage limitation and 6 points down, and it was sort of looking a bit dodgy, and their backs were really up at that stage. they did kick a ball long to clear a ball when we were attacking, and Adam Johnson caught the ball in the full back position, and he made the most brilliant run I've ever seen. He must have sidestepped about 10 players, and he didn't start. He was huge speed, of course, but he also had to do a lot of side steps, and he eventually passed the ball to Sean just under the post, and who passed it to Mark McDermott, and he got a try under the post. So that took the pressure off. We converted. That put the score back to 32-19. But I'm just making the point that Gorey weren't rolling over, and I think they are starting to get their season in order. So that's how the game went. It wasn't certainly, as the final scoreline suggested, wasn't as easy as that, particularly in that second half. So the table then is interesting in that Sea Point and Monkstown are pulling ahead, but there was a few results that kind of probably went our way. In that Monkstown were only drew at home with Wicklow, but Wicklow are the second from bottom. So it means that those two teams are on 25 and 24 points, Bective on 19, and we're on 18. And then Setonians, Ashbourne, Wicklow, and Gorey below us. So we're in a reasonably good position considering we're after losing a few matches. And the next two matches will tell. We have no match this coming weekend, but we have two home matches then. Monkstown at home, who are one of the pace setters, and we have a return match with Ashbourne at home. So look at if we were able to win those two, we'd certainly be pushing up the table. But Monkstown won't be simple, certainly, and neither game will be simple. So that's coming up. So yeah, as I say, a bit like 1A with Kildare, Sea Point, and Monkstown seem to be the pace setters there. But the rest of the teams are all beating each other. And the fact that Wicklow drew with Monkstown last week certainly raised a few eyebrows in that particular game. Our seconds had a cracker of a game. It was the lead changed places very many times, and Gorey, like Carlow against Kilkenny's first, Gorey seconds got a penalty to win it 21-19 the last kick of the game. But it was a real cracker of a game, and like as I said last week, our seconds are a very young team, and a lot of changes because of the injuries on the first. And they did really well in those circumstances, and it's great to see. From our point of view, as I said last week, it's great to see the seconds being so competitive at this time of the year. We've had a problem at this time of the year in recent seasons, so it was good. So look, we came home happy enough, and we stopped in the Dying Cow. It was a long time since we were down in Gorey, so it was great to have that particular journey and stop in the Dying Cow. We haven't done that for a while, just like the old days. But anyway, Gorey is always a good place to go to, and a lot of old friends down there. So that was a pleasant day. Our ladies played on Sunday and had another huge win against Mullingar, 47-21, and I think they scored 9 tries. So it was a massive performance. And Mullingar weren't weak. Like Mullingar were pushing us all the way up to early into the second half. So it wasn't a complete. Our girls just pulled away in the second half. So they are really going well at the moment. None of our teams have matches at the weekend. Or the senior teams, the men, women, or the women. We've only 3 junior matches, so it'll be a quiet weekend. We won't have much to say to you next week, Stephen. But just to comment on the juniors. Tom went through some of the results there with the girls. Our junior boys had mixed results. Our under 18s were beaten again by Wicklow, strong Wicklow team. But our 13s, 14s, and 15s boys all won. That match that you mentioned, the 14 Rhinos, Tom, it was Ross Gray. They're called the Ravens. They conceded, so it was a walkover for those teams. So, but overall, at this break in the season, we have, I think, in 5 of our 8 underage teams are top of their division, and I think similarly that's in the Southeast leagues, and I think the Leinster leagues, which are only getting underway, I think we've made good starts in those too. So we'll look at touch wood. It's early in the season, but our underage teams seem to be on a bit of a high at the moment. So long may that last. So that's more or less the round up there, Stephen.
Lovely, good stuff. We've a few minutes left, lads, and just while squeeze in a bit of inter-provincial stuff as well. A couple of teams named today for the URC at the weekend. Leinster have named an incredible team to play the Scarlets. God help the Scarlets. There's 10 internationals starting. They're starting Sam Prendergast. So they're surrounding Sam with all the experience, and Munster have named a pretty strong team as well for their game. That's going to be another cracker of a game this weekend. So, yeah, there's some stuff on the telly to keep us occupied as well. Very strong sides out. Of course, the internationals are back as well, but it'd be great now to get a look at a lot of these players now. This is a big year for Jack Crowley, to push on and cement his place like as the Munster and Ireland number 10 and so on. So, interesting times ahead.
Yeah, interesting. I think the Leinster selection looks ominously strong, all right. And it's interesting to what you mentioned, particularly about Sam Prendergast, because he has come on in the last few matches and done quite well, but it's a whole different ball game starting. And as you say, Stephen, starting with that sort of a lineup all around you, I'm really looking forward to that one because he has star potential, but it's a big step up at the same time from 20s to senior. So this is a big test. It is a big test, and it'll tell us a lot.
Yeah.
Well, the only thing there is that he's kind of lucky because Scarlets are poor.
Yeah.
Very, 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 very poor side. I don't know. Like the Welsh side,
Side's gone.
Yeah, and it's going to. It's kind of affecting the. I think later on, but the only good thing about it is lads will get runouts in other games, and it's good to see. There's a lot of young lads coming through on all the sides. Ulster beat Munster last weekend. Munster probably should have won that game. I think they took the foot off the pedal and let Ulster back into the game, and they lost. But there's a couple of really good. There's a very good second row coming out of, and a young lad up in Ulster. Name has just gone out of my head. I had it a few minutes ago. But
Scott Wilson, is it the prop? Is it?
No, there's a second row. There's a big second row, young lad.
Oh,
He came on in the second half. I think he might even start. He's they're kind of saying that it's the first kind of, because they've had, like, if you look at Ulster, they've been poor in producing for a team that always produced big forwards throughout the years. Paddy Jude and back in the day, like they always had.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Gave us second rows and back row and props and hookers, but they've seemed to have bought in an awful lot over the last couple of years, an awful lot of South African stuff to fill in gaps. And it's good to see them, other than Henderson, they really haven't had their own sort of solid second row. It looks like this young fella hopefully will come through, because the Irish setup needs it. Like, there's no point in having an Irish team with just like one Ulster, one or two Ulster players.
No,
there.
you definitely need strong.
You need four provinces. You need the four provinces firing for, if we're ever going to stand a chance of winning this elusive quarter-final game. Like, you're going to need all the provinces working.
I couldn't agree more.
And homegrown players. Like, it's good to see Ollie, coming back from
Jaeger.
New Zealand.
Ollie Jaeger
coming back. It doesn't matter who. Like, he's probably actually needed in Munster more than anything, because their front row seem to be that little bit weak and
Tom, I only realised last week when we were watching these matches and commenting on our group that yourself and James Banfield are two closet Munster supporters. I'm very taken back by that now.
Don't get me started, Paddy.
I think James came out last weekend, so he did.
Well, I've never been. I have. This is people laugh at me because I've always stuck to my guns, and it's just it's a history thing, and I'm very loyal in a sense that this happened donkey's years, and I was only a nipper before there was any professional rugby, and as it was to my father and a few other bits and pieces that don't ask me how this came about, but it did, and it kind of stuck with me. So, but on the other hand of it, it's only the senior team. On the other hand, like, I do all my work in helping the development of youths, and then you be on the Leinster Youth Committee, and and I'm wearing the Leinster stuff for competitions, and
you go to the RBS as well, Tom.
Okay, we'll let you away with it, Tom. We'll let you away with it. All right, okay.
Southeast were playing Munster. The girls were playing Munster down below, and someone had the cheek to ask me who was I actually going to support. I said, "Come on,
Tom, once you're explaining, you're losing, but we'll let you away with it. All right."
You have a special pass on for that.
You know what? If everybody was the same, Paddy, we'd be a sad world, wouldn't it?
That's true.
It'd be a sad world, and we'd have no crack. So At least I get a bit of crack out of it.
Absolutely. No, I'm loyal to me own province. That they won't look outside. But then
Well,
again,
we'll always go for the second. They're always second.
Yeah. No, I'm the same as you, Tom. Got into it when I was younger, and sure, I'm a Wicklow man originally. So, a friend of mine played rugby for Tullow years ago. Owen Cuddy. He was the one that got me. Remember him, Paddy?
I do, yeah. I do, yeah.
Yeah, he was a prop, and he got me into rugby years ago. And I used to go and watch him play for Tullow. Jesus, donkeys years ago now. And of course, you wouldn't be allowed to support any other province bar Leinster. Like that was it. He'd watch a lot of rugby. He'd watch everything going like that as well. But if you even look sideways at a Munster or anything like that, he'd whip you into shape, I tell you. Oh, yeah. Lads, we'll knock it on the head for this week's episode. Thanks for joining us as always. James Blanchfield not with us today, but hopefully he'll join us again next week. It's a quiet weekend for you and that, but we'll try and have something to talk about next week.
I think James shaking out of this one.
Yeah, probably.
Oh.
His face.
Well, I better not say too much because we have to play them. We still have to play them again. So there's
and he'll be listening.
So we'll all be very nice. I know he will be listening.
Absolutely, lads. Go easy. Have a good weekend.
Okay, see you, Stephen. Take care.
Enjoy the weekend. Bye bye.